Serious? Oh, wow. Look at this boardroom meeting style. Okay.
Should we start? Hang on, I don't know if this will close
I
off.
can't see because
Alrighty.
Okay. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. This is Lala here from Lala for Business.
And I'm Michelle Maynard from the Carbon Group.
This is my superwoman behind my business. So we put a post out talking about the financial parts of business that no one ever talks about it. So I thought we'd get on here and just talk about it. So the first video that we're going to do today is talk about basic business structure.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the biggest things that businesses get wrong is not setting things up right in the beginning. And I think when you venture into business world, we're all on tight budgets. We're all on about doing things for as less as possible. We just want to get in there and go. But I'm a huge advocate that the finances are the foundation of your business, and they don't call it a structure for nothing. So when we're talking about structure, it's the question, am I a sole trader? Do I go as a company, a trust? Or if you're going into business with someone else, do you want that to be a partnership? There are so many different options, and they all have their pros and cons. And I think if we don't get that right at the beginning, there are implications going forward. So should we run through?
Yeah, from personal experience that's happened to me. When I set up my business, I had no idea. I sought advice of families and friends, which was, in hindsight, not the right advice because they don't know financial structure like an accountant does. So if I could give anyone advice, it would be to actually take that bit of money and invest in proper financial advice with someone who is qualified, like an accountant, particularly someone in small business, not a big corporation, but in small business, and get your foundations, like Michelle, set up right at the beginning.
Yeah, so sole trader, let's talk about that. That's the fastest, easiest, and best, and quickest way to get into being a business, because you just get an ABN under your tax file number and you're good to go. And that is great for small businesses that want to start, and especially those people that are sort of transitioning from a side hustle onto something. And we could have a whole conversation about when is it a hobby and when is it a business. We can run through that. But if you decide that you are going into business and you are going to be a sole trader, that's okay. But there are things that you really need to do. You need to realize that all of your assets are now on the line.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because as a sole trader, if something happens in your business, you're the entity that's running that business. So your house is on the line, your bank accounts are on the line, and therefore if you own that with someone else, that affects them as well. So I think we need to think long term. Also with a sole trader, tax rates. We eventually pay more tax than what companies do.
Okay.
So while it's good to start with, because we've got the tax-free threshold, if your business goes great guns, which we all hope it does, then you're going to be paying more tax up front in a sole trader structure. So I think that's a really important thing to know. For those people that are working full-time and doing a business, for every dollar you earn as a business, that goes on top of your employment income. So, you're getting taxed at a higher rate to start with.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, really interesting things that people don't really take into account. A lot of people talk about the tax-free threshold, but that's, if you're getting income from another source, that's already used up.
Yeah. So you're basically working for nothing almost.
Well, you're not working for nothing. You're not working for nothing. The tax man is not that bad. But what people don't realise is, you might be starting off for every dollar you earn in your business, you're already losing 30 cents to the tax man.
Yeah.
So that's something really interesting to know. So a sole trader is definitely quick and easy, but it doesn't apply in all circumstances, or it shouldn't apply in all circumstances.
Okay. So then what would be the next option if you didn't want to be a sole trader? Would that be the company?
Well, I normally go sole trader, then a trust,
okay,
and then a company. So what a trust is it's a separate legal trading entity, and it protects your assets a little bit because it's not you, but you do still have some exposure. Now, what a trust does, a trust doesn't pay tax itself. But you can stream the income to multiple people. So if you have a business and your partner doesn't work, or you have adult children that earn sort of minimal income, if that business makes a profit, then you can use different people to try and minimize the tax, which is completely legal, by the way.
Not dodgy.
Not dodgy, no, completely legal. And so that may be an option for you, especially if you have a partner at home that doesn't work or only works part-time. We have some options there. So it ticks a lot of the boxes. It ticks the tax effective box, and it ticks a little bit of the asset box, so asset protection. So definitely an option. The cons of it, you have to do a separate tax return because it's not in your individual tax return anymore. So you do have a little bit more compliance costs. but if you weigh that up against the tax you would save and the assets you would protect, a lot of the time it makes sense.
I would assume that when you're doing a tax return for a trust in a company, that is not a DIY job.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
So you can't do it through MyGov. It has to be done on paper if you're not using an accountant, and it is completely different tax law than what we used to be doing. So
you need a professional for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then top of the range, we're going in next options is a company. Now, a company is its own separate legal entity, so it can sue and be sued. So in terms of asset protection, this is your vehicle.
Okay.
So if your company was to be sued by someone, something went wrong in your business, all that would be up for grabs is the assets of the company. So if that all has a bank account, maybe a little bit of stock, that's all that somebody has. So in terms of protecting your personal assets, a company is a fantastic structure. It's also a great structure in terms of tax because a company only pays 26 cents in the dollar, whereas an individual, if you earn more than $180,000, it's 48.5 cents. So that's a huge.
That's literally half.
Yeah. So, but again, cons: separate tax return and financial statements, and also. The other thing is with a company, you can't just pull the money out without there being some consequences to you. So you either have to take it as a wage or a salary, or you have to take it as a dividend. Again, all these things that you really need to get advice on, because I see people get the first part of the advice and set up the structure, but then don't know how to operate within it going forward. But getting that right has implications for a lot of things, and moving between them is possible. But it's a bit of admin work. You have to get new ABNs, new tax file numbers, new bank accounts. So if you have a business set up and then you move to a different structure, you have the juggle of people paying your old bank account when it should be a new one. And
that's the issue that we've had with me. I've gone from a trust to a company and new ABN, and obviously the cost to do it was a good couple of $1,000s to actually change all of that, and then I'm still tidying up 2 years later the differences between the two.
Because your customers will deal with you maybe once a year or something, they don't know. So it can be a bit messy. So definitely I highly recommend getting some good advice up front about how you should structure this, because the structure is the bones of your business. It's how you're going to operate, and then so many things will depend off of that. So definitely recommend structure.
Absolutely. The second thing that I think is really important to mention is about keeping those separate bank accounts. We're hearing a lot of this where people are just using their own personal bank accounts for business going in and out, and the horror. So if you are a company or a trust or a partnership, you have to have a bank account in that name. So that's normally pretty well structured for those people that are that. Yeah.
But my sole traders, I love you, but dear Lord, please listen. Have a separate bank account for your business that the money comes into, that your expenses get paid out of. I know it's easy to use your personal account. And when I say business account, it can just be a everyday account set up for your business. And if you want to use the funds in there, which as a sole trader, you're more than entitled to do, transfer it over to a personal bank account like you would your salary or wage, and then spend it there. It has a couple of benefits. One, your dear old accountant at the end of the year, when they're trying to trawl through what's income and what's expenses, it's all in one spot. So it's nice and easy. But also for you, it's good to have that separation so you can see how business is doing. You can see, how much you're having to either contribute from your personal funds in there, or how much your business is supporting your personal lifestyle. So I think separate bank accounts is absolutely key.
You need to, the figures and data don't lie. So you need to have that in order to understand if you're making money, where there's holes that are leaking money and all that sort of thing. You need to have all that data. You can't rely on your brain, because it kind of puts you into a bit of a false sense of illusion as to what's actually going. You actually need to sit down and look at what's physically happening.
Agreed.
To be able to make those decisions.
And I think a lot of things are on direct debit or subscription and things, and so if they're mixed up in your personal bank account, you don't know, you don't take account of them, and a lot of people are like, I can't get a business credit card, and I get that. So there are some things where you may have to use personal accounts, but keep a track of that. Transfer those amounts over from your business bank account to cover the cost of those regularly. I know it's not everybody's fun part to keep a track of the finances, but it's definitely how are you meant to measure something? Yeah. How are you meant to measure how business is going if you don't know the money in and out? So separate bank account is definitely a big one for me.
So that leads us on to the third point, which is some sort of system, bookkeeping system of some sort, to help you keep track of all of this?
Yes, and that could mean so many different things for so many people, but if you're not at the stage where you need a bookkeeping system, so you don't need a Xero or a QuickBooks or a Wave, if you're just tracking everything on an Excel spreadsheet, that is okay. My message to my clients always is, do what makes you feel comfortable, because I want you to understand your numbers. I want you to look at them. If I give you this system that you can't work, you're never going to look at it. So find what works for you, but do something.
Yeah.
So if it's an Excel spreadsheet, dump out your bank transactions every month. Put in what's income, put in what you've paid for in expenses, and that's basically the basis of a profit and loss. Your income less your expenses equals how much profit your business has made that month. So do that. But however, once you start getting a little bit bigger and you need a system, that's when you need to go into a software package.
Yeah.
So, you need to invoice your clients. A lot of people are like, oh, people pay me. Where's your invoices? If you have an ABN, especially if you are GST registered, you need to provide an invoice. So have something that does that for you. Word documents you lose, you get whatever. Have something that's automatic.
You're preaching to me. You're preaching.
I know. The other part too is once you get to the point where you're sending invoices out to clients, having a system like Xero that chases those clients for you, or you can see in one place who's paid and who hasn't, you're not losing money.
Yeah.
The amount of people that, I've had clients where, we've gone through their invoice at the year end. Why is this not paid? Why is the client not paid this? Oh, I didn't know, so I never chased. I'm yet to find a client who's going to knock on your door and say, sorry, you haven't chased me for this money, so here it is. So we need to make sure you have a system in place. Whatever works for you, but have it something that's scalable quickly, because if business scales, you don't want to be playing catch up.
Yeah. So this is something that I learned. This is how Michelle and I have come together. When I had my retail shop, I had a bookkeeper and an accountant. I had a till, so we'd ring off the till at the end of the night and we'd balance it with our FPOS machine and everything else like that. When I closed my retail shop, we were getting income in from like 6 different places, and I had no idea how to track it. And we were doing invoices by Word or Excel and, trying to keep hold of it. And it just got out of control. And I put up an SOS and was like, I need some help. So Michelle came in and put Xero into our business, taught me how to do it. I did grumble and gripe about it, and I still grumble and gripe about it. Let's be honest. You guys know I'm shit at this, but I do it anyway. And it's been life-changing, and everything feels more under control. It also presents more professionally to my clients at the other end as well, because there's a consistent kind of system that goes through with invoicing and all sorts of things, and I've been able to keep track of it. Michelle and I can do quick little meetings, catching up and kind of reassessing where I'm at financially, because the data is there for us to work off as well.
I think with businesses, looking at the data, and if you say to businesses, how is business going, they think about their bank account. Oh, there's money in there, so it must be going okay.
Guilty.
But if you have $5,000 in your bank account, but you have $40,000 in outstanding bills, well, that's not a
business
is not great. Or if you have $5,000 in your bank account and people owe you $20,000, well, that $20,000 should be in your bank account.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to track those things and measure them, and have a system in place where you're not, it's easy for you to do that, because business owners focus on their business. They don't. And while getting money in and paying money out is part of business, it's not the core thing of what you do. So have a system in place that makes you able to do those business finance things easy.
Absolutely. And then that leads us to the last point, which is revenue versus profit. This whole conversation of this, what do you call it? Catchword on trend, what everyone's talking about, of I've got a 6-figure business, or I sold my business for 6 figures, or I'm making 6 figures, and blah, 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 and all of this kind of stuff. But it's quite deceiving, because someone could be making $600,000, selling $600,000, but actually putting out $800,000 and not making any money and running at a loss.
I think this is one of the big things that small business does wrong, is they assess their business on sales. So when you're assessing about taking on a client, or you're looking at pricing your products, you're thinking about how much money is in the door.
Yeah.
Revenue, which is income, sales, that is important, absolutely. But what is more important than that is what we call the bottom line, which is profit, which is how much is left after everything has been paid for.
Yeah.
And sometimes you may make a sale, but the cost of doing that sale is more than what the sale is worth. So in the end, it's not worth you actually doing that. So one of the key things to get educated on is, what is your profit? So what is your income? Obviously, money in the door is great. What are all of your expenses? And we'll go through in a different video about what those are. But profit is what is left over for you at the end of the day, for the blood, the sweat, the tears, the time, the effort.
Weekends away, the stress, everything else that you're sacrificing to do your business.
And that's what we need to get in. So when you think of, I've done $1,000 this week, if running your business has cost you $5,000, then you've wasted not wasted your time, but
you're running at a loss.
You're running at a loss.
Yeah.
And I've had businesses that have sold millions of dollars of product or services, but they're running at a loss.
Yeah.
You want to be making profit. That's the short version. You want to be making profit, and I could go into a whole different spiel about how you want to be paying tax, because tax means you're making a profit.
Yeah.
But you need to know those figures, and if you don't know those figures, how can you steer the ship?
Yeah.
How can you make decisions about what costs you cut, or where you focus your advertising spend? If one product it costs you less but sells more, you need to know all these basics. It sounds hard, but it's actually quite easy to do.
Yeah, and it's it's the reality. If you want to have success with business, you have to get a grip on this stuff, whether you like it or not. I've had this conversation with myself many a times. It is the reality. If I want to sustain my business, keep myself in business, keep my team together, I have to put my business hat on and treat it like a business and not like a charity. And you do at some point need to sit back and go, I'm sacrificing putting my kids into daycare, not spending time with my partner or in my marriage, sacrificing my health, and I'm not making any money, or I'm making $500 a week when I could actually probably go back to work, do something else, make more money. It helps you make those decisions, because small business is not easy. No. The financial stress is the absolute deal breaker, I feel like it. Yeah. So getting a grip on it and understanding it, and also being able to reassess how you're going along the way, is what will help you make so many other further decisions.
Absolutely. And I think the thing that, we forget about is the financial health of your business has implications. It has implications for your personal finances.
Yeah.
You and I both know we both have employees.
Yeah.
Not only am I putting my family's financial future at risk by the decisions I make in my business if it doesn't run well, I'm affecting the finances of my 7 staff, their mortgages, their families, and so therefore you have to get it right.
I actually find that responsibility of my staff being the most overwhelming. It's the part that keeps me up at night when, times have been tough, making sure that they're okay and that I've got money in the bank for them and stuff. I'm quite happy to sacrifice myself, but I do feel enormous responsibility for that.
And I think that's where the foundation, the structure, the financial things is most important, because with everything that's at stake, your house, your personal life, being able to afford things for the kids, if you don't know how to make those decisions, if you don't know how business is going really, you can't make those decisions. And I think so knowing that is going to safeguard your business finances and therefore your personal finances.
All right, so to wrap it up.
Let's
wrap it up. Structure. Invest in some decent professional advice to begin with setting up the structure of your business. I had this theory of you should always set up any business that you're about to do as if it's working at maximum capacity, because when you scale it and you get to being super busy and you're really running hot, you already have systems in place and it's a walk in the park. You're not trying to catch up and struggle for it when you're flat out doing something else. So definitely structure and seek advice.
Yep. So at the beginning, and also if things have changed and your structure is no longer serving you, get some advice about how to change that.
Don't put your head in the sand and pretend that shit doesn't happen, because it does happen. Get on top of it. You'll feel a huge release, speaking from personal experience, of just getting it sorted. Other thing was making sure that you set up a separate bank account.
Yep, definitely.
So it's serious. And then
Third one was knowing your business finances.
Yeah, knowing
what revenue, what's money in the door, but knowing what money is left over for you at the end of the day, and keeping a system in place that whatever gives you that information easiest, that you understand and it doesn't cause you angst using it.
Yeah. So we got 2 more videos we're going to do, and one of them is about how to price for your product and for your services, and then the third one
is about what happens when you're running. So how to put money aside for tax, how to pay yourself, how to make sure everything is set up so you actually are running a profitable business.
Awesome. Thanks guys for watching.